Okay, let's unpack this. You've showed a transcript, right? From an English lesson.
That's right. All about describing physical appearance.
And our mission here really is to dive deep into what seem like simple descriptions.
Exactly. To pull out the insightful nuggets about how we perceive people, how we talk about them.
We want to explore the subtle power of word choice.
Yeah, like what's the real difference between saying someone's well-built versus muscular?
Mm-hmm. And how these descriptions carry maybe more weight than just, surface observations.
It's pretty fascinating. Even a basic lesson like this shows how we categorize people physically.
Yeah, these aren't just neutral words, are they?
Not at all. They're packed with implicit meaning.
Okay, so let's start with overall body build. The lesson kicks off with well-built versus skinny.
Right.
What's the main difference the lesson points out there?
Well, the key thing is muscle. Well-built suggests, a good amount of muscle.
Whereas skinny.
Skinny suggests a lack of it. So it's not just size, it's the type of size, really.
Got it. The lesson also gives another word for muscular. What was that?
Yes. Muscly. M-U-S-C-L-Y.
Muscly. So pretty much the same meaning.
Essentially, yeah. Maybe slightly more informal, but basically muscular.
And if someone just looks well-built, what's a simple synonym the lesson offers?
Just looks strong, very direct, easy to understand.
Okay. Moving on to descriptions maybe more often used for women, we see in good shape and athletic physique. What's another word the lesson gives for in good shape?
Fit. Simple as that. In good shape means fit.
Okay, now this bit I found really interesting. In British English, fit has an extra meaning.
Yes. This is a great example of context and culture.
So what's the extra meaning?
In British English, fit can also just mean attractive.
Really? Attractive. And who do you use that for?
For men and women, both.
Oh, so a word about physical health doubles as meaning attractive.
Exactly. Shows how language shifts,
Right. Okay, what about physique? The lesson defines that too.
It does. Physique is defined as the shape and condition of the body.
And what kind of adjectives usually go with it?
Well, the lesson points out it's usually positive ones, like muscular physique or strong physique.
So using the word physique itself kind of implies something positive?
Yeah, often does, yeah.
Yeah.
Suggests a favorable impression.
Interesting. Okay, let's flip to the other end of things. Thinness. We have skinny and slight build. The lesson says skinny is, well, more negative than just thin or slim. What's the nuance there?
Yeah, it suggests that the lesson actually says it implies the person should eat more.
So it's a bit judgmental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not just an observation, more of a criticism almost.
Whereas slim, what does that imply beyond just being thin?
Slim adds that layer of attractiveness. It's thin, but in a way that's seen as, aesthetically pleasing.
Right. Okay. And the word build itself, how's that defined?
Build is just the basic shape of the body. Are they broad or thin, muscular or not? It's the overall structure.
And the lesson gives some adjectives to use with build, right?
Yes, quite a few. Medium build, slim build, proportionate build, and stocky build.
Stocky. What does that one specifically suggest?
Stocky suggests someone is, well, solid, big or wide.
But does that mean overweight?
Not necessarily. The lesson clarifies it usually implies muscle, a robust kind of build.
Got it. Okay, what about describing someone with extra weight? The lesson uses overweight and has a gut.
Right.
What's the point made about overweight compared to, say, fat?
Well, overweight is seen as more indirect, maybe slightly more clinical or polite than fat.
But neither is actually polite to say directly to someone.
Definitely not, no. The lesson makes that clear. It shows how we tend to, soften language around sensitive topics.
And a gut, what is that exactly?
A gut is just a large stomach.
And the synonym given?
Big belly. Both refer to that extra weight around the midsection.
Okay, let's shift focus upwards. Facial features.
Right.
The lesson mentions chiseled features with high cheekbones and also very well-defined facial features. How does it explain chiseled? What's the comparison?
It compares it to a chisel, the tool for carving stone.
Ah, okay. So it suggests sharp, clearly shaped features, almost sculpted.
Exactly, that's the implication.
And who usually gets described as having chiseled features?
The lesson notes it's generally used for men.
Interesting gender association there.
Yeah.
So how is well-defined different then? Sounds similar.
It is similar, referring to clear shapes, cheekbones, jaw, chin. But the key difference
Yes.
is that well-defined can be used for men or women. And it doesn't automatically imply attractive in the same way chiseled might. It's more neutral.
Just means the features have clear shapes.
Pretty much, yeah. Clear structure.
Okay. The lesson also touches on signs of aging and expressions. What are crow's feet?
Those are the wrinkles you get at the corners of your eyes.
A common sign of aging.
Very common.
And how does the lesson talk about the intensity of wrinkles?
It uses faint, meaning they're not very obvious, or deep, meaning they're more pronounced lines.
Makes sense. What about dimples when someone smiles?
Dimples are those little indentations, small holes almost, that some people have in their cheeks when they smile.
Right, not everyone has them.
Yeah.
And the lesson mentions you can have a dimple somewhere else, too. Less common.
That's right, on the chin. A chin dimple. Less common than cheek dimples, but they exist.
Okay. And freckles, what are they and who gets them?
Freckles are small spots, usually light brown, on the skin.
And who tends to have them?
The lesson says they're common in people with very light skin, and sun exposure can make them more noticeable.
Right. Okay, face shape. Yeah. Examples given are round face with a high forehead and double chin. What other adjectives does the lesson suggest for face shape?
It gives quite a range. Thin, symmetrical, long, or square. Just different ways to categorize the overall face shape.
And a double chin, what's the likely cause mentioned?
The lesson links it directly to being overweight.
Okay. Moving down again. Facial hair? What's a goatee, according to the lesson?
A goatee is specifically a beard just on the chin and the upper lip. Only there.
So not covering the cheeks or neck.
Correct. The term for a beard covering the whole face and neck is...
a full beard.
Exactly. Full beard.
Does the lesson imply most people know lots of beard styles?
No, actually. It suggests that beyond goatee and full beard, most people don't know many specific terms.
Unless they're really into beards, maybe.
Right. Unless they're beard experts or enthusiasts.
Okay. What about hair color changing? What does going gray mean?
Simply that someone's hair is in the process of becoming gray.
And can we use that word go for other appearance changes?
Yes, the lesson mentions go bald for losing hair.
What about face color?
That too. Examples like she went bright red or he went pale. So it works for complexion changes from emotion or health too.
Interesting verb, go. Okay, hair on the head now.
Right.
We have examples like curly black hair and thick shoulder-length curly hair. What's the opposite of curly?
The lesson states the opposite is straight hair.
And if it's in between. Not really curly, not really straight.
That would be wavy hair.
Makes sense. How do we usually describe hair length?
The common terms are long, short, medium length, or shoulder length.
And for really long hair?
The lesson gives an example like her hair reached down to her waist.
Okay. What about bald? What does that specifically refer to?
Bald refers to someone who has lost most or all of their head hair, often due to aging, the lesson notes.
But what if someone just shaves it all off? Are they bald?
Good question. The lesson differentiates. You'd say he has a shaved head.
Ah, okay. Different cause.
Right.
What about hair thickness? What adjectives does the lesson give?
Just thick or thin.
And can we use those for facial hair too? A thick beard, maybe?
Yes, the lesson confirms thick and thin work for facial hair as well.
Is there a rule for adjective order when describing hair, like color and length?
Yes, there's a common pattern. Length or thickness usually comes before color.
So you'd say?
Long brown hair, not brown long hair, or thick blonde hair.
Got it. Length, thickness, then color.
Usually, yes.
Okay, last couple of things. Fair hair. And a specific haircut. Shaved short at the back and sides and swept to one side on top. How is fair hair different from blonde hair?
Fair is broader. It just means light colored. So it can include light brown, dark blonde.
Not just strictly blonde.
Exactly. More inclusive.
And that description, hair being swept, what does sweep mean here?
It just means pushed or styled in one direction.
Rake.
Like swept to the side or swept back or maybe swept up into a ponytail.
Right, pushed in a direction.
Yep.
So what does all this really tell us? We've gone through this language lesson.
And it shows how much is hidden in plain sight, doesn't it?
It really does. How single words carry cultural baggage like fit.
Or negative judgments like skinny.
And how comparisons shape understanding like chiseled.
And just the sheer amount of information we pack into these quick descriptions.
Yeah. So maybe the next time you hear these words, or use them yourself,
you might pause and think about those subtle messages.
What assumptions might be lurking just underneath?
Absolutely. It really just scratches the surface, I think. There's a whole world of language and perception tied up in how we describe appearance.
It definitely makes you think how these seemingly simple vocabulary choices aren't simple at all.
They reflect, and maybe even reinforce, our perceptions about bodies, faces, hair, everything.
It's a good reminder that even casual descriptions are doing work. They're shaping how we see each other.
Couldn't agree more. Language is powerful, even in the everyday stuff.